Hello everyone, welcome to the Canadian Electricity Association's Conversation webinar series. My name is Farhan Mirza with the CEA, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. The CEA has worked with our corporate partners to develop this conversation series, which focuses on solutions to current and future challenges faced by our industry. Today, Siemens will be presenting our webinar on electrical infrastructure for e-mobility. The Siemens Make-Ready electrical solution provides a one-stop shop for customers who are planning to install EV chargers in their facilities. Siemens has been designing and deploying electrical infrastructure in projects of all sizes, from single-family homes to hospitals, airports, and office, commercial, and residential buildings. Siemens can provide the complete EV infrastructure from hardwired installation to full-scale commercial charging solutions, including as many make-ready components as you may need, from transformers to switchboards to metering, as well as networking components in eCar OC software. In this presentation, you will get an overview of L2, L3 charging infrastructure, EV charging infrastructure, and the electrical components required to deploy charging stations in different locations. Our presenter today from Siemens Canada is Havandeep Rai, eMobility Engineering Specialist. Before we get started, just a couple housekeeping items. Feel free to type questions into the question area on your webinar screen, and we'll ask those questions at the end of the webinar. And we will also send out a copy of this presentation after the webinar, along with a post-webinar survey. We certainly appreciate your feedback, and we're also interested in any topics that you would like to see as part of this conversation series in the future. With that, Havandeep, I'll turn the webinar over to you.
Hey Farhan, thanks again for the great introduction, and thanks to the CEA and everybody involved in putting together this presentation. It's a pleasure to be presenting today, and thanks to everyone who's online today and took the time to do this presentation. I hope I can teach you guys a lot about Siemens offerings and e-mobility industry in Canada as a whole. Okay, just a quick check before I start. Everything is Farhan, everything is sounds and looks good, right? Okay, great. Okay, so Siemens L2 and L3 VersiCharge and C-Charge chargers. So today we'll be going through our chargers and our charging infrastructure equipment for all purposes ranging from home to transit to commercial fleet charging. So a little bit about Siemens itself. So Siemens designs and distributes equipment for the electrical grid from all the way from generation all the way down to the end use of that energy. So some of our products include software, which is used in design of vehicles. We can see Siemens products in factory automation. And of course, we can even see Siemens products to charge your vehicles on the street, in depots, in your home, really everywhere. So what Siemens offers is a totally integrated power. So all the way from power generation through high voltage, medium voltage, through low voltage, all the way down to the distribution systems, and of course into your end user equipment. So Siemens equipment is found again all over industries in the end use of the power. So along with that, Siemens offers consulting, planning, engineering, network design, project management, ordering and delivery, installation, commissioning, operation and after-sale service, and services and modernization. So Siemens can support all of these requirements right from the grid connection to the local power distribution infrastructure. We've been designing and deploying electrical infrastructure in projects of all sizes, from single-family homes to hospitals, airports, high-rise condos, and office buildings, all the way throughout with our totally integrated power. A little bit about Siemens offering in the charging space. So Siemens is offering chargers, vehicle chargers for e-vehicles, electrical vehicles across every department. So this includes e-bus depots, enterprise and retailers, gas stations and truck stops, operating centers, highway transit charging, city and town street parking, logistics depot charging, parking garage and commercial real estate, and residential and multi-home chargers. So I know that everyone listening may have seen chargers in some of these locations. A lot of the most that I see is in malls, especially. But these chargers are spreading throughout the entire transportation infrastructure. So we're gonna see a lot more chargers in gas stations coming up soon, uh, on top of what's already installed. A lot more in highway en route stations, and some things that we don't always see as consumers unless we're in the industry is chargers in bus depots and logistics charging depots. And again, well, finally, we'll see it starting to pop up in the city and town street parking. So along with your parking meter in cities, you'll see charger as well. So, and Siemens offers chargers ranging in power kilowatt rating that's required across all of these industries. So a little bit about the infrastructure and what it means to you. So depending on what industry you're from or whether you're a utility providing power, it depends who your end user or who the end user and consumer is and what kind of power infrastructure they'll need. So in cases of operating centers, parking garages, and residential home and multi-home facilities, you'll typically need a L2 charger, which is 11.2 kilowatts. So this charger typically charges a vehicle in 4 to 8 hours, depending on the state of charge. And so the nature of this charge is allowing for a charge sequentially over 8 hours. So this is pretty much low power and it's sustained through an 8-hour period. When you move on in power capabilities, you'll get into the malls and restaurants, as well as city and town street parking. So this type of charge isn't as sustainable, where it has its peaks where people come in and leave. And however, it is still low power because it is still that 11.2 kilowatts. So depending on how you upgrade between each of these departments, you're gonna have to have more infrastructure and power available. Next, we see our e-bus depots. So these use a bit more power. You upgrade from your 11.2 kilowatts all the way to 50 to 150 kilowatts and sometimes even more. So in this case, you're going to need more power, more infrastructure. The good thing with depots is that your charges are scheduled in. So you can predict when you're going to need that charge and when you're going to need power. However, in the next segment we have here in highway transit charging, logistics depot charging, and gas stations and truck stops, you're going to need high power to quickly charge vehicles within 10 to 15 minutes. And also it's going to be very random distribution. So what that means is that cars will be coming in and leaving without any set schedule. You can do some things to predict, but there always will be some randomness and you always want to have that power available. So the whole business depends on having that power ready to go. And so it's critical that the infrastructure backs that up. And from a utilities perspective, as you move down this list, the more involved you would have to be with these end users and end customers in curbing peaks to ensure that power is available and ensuring an ability to power these depots. So a little bit about the make-ready solutions supplied by Siemens for the low power applications. So in these applications, either you'll have your low voltage distribution systems connected to your charger along with the metering that's involved. Or you'll have your medium voltage in the more industrial type settings, you'll have your medium voltage connected to your transformers, which is then distributed through your distribution systems. Depending on the circumstance, the number of chargers and the power available, and as well as how forward looking your industry is and you are as a charging and while installing these chargers, you may want to install solar panels on your roof. You may want to install a backup battery storage. In order to make sure everything communicates with each other correctly, you're going to need to install a microcontroller, a charging controller, so a microgrid controller, because technically you're producing power, you're storing power, and you're using power, so you've got a microgrid set up. You're going to need cybersecurity to protect all the data that's being transferred between all these different products. And especially you'll need metering, because with these chargers, a lot of utilities are getting involved. So you would need separate metering from the building as a whole to feedback and to let the utility know how much metering is actually being, how much power is actually being taken by these chargers. So of course, Siemens offers an extensive array of electrical infrastructure solutions designed for any transportation electrical application. Our lineup of chargers for level 2, level 3, and bus applications can easily be coupled to all of this equipment here. And Siemens can provide the complete EV infrastructure, from the hardwired install to full-scale commercial charging solutions, including as many make-ready components as you need. So moving on a bit into the higher power sustained and higher power with peaks as well. So in this case, you have your bus and truck depots, you have your logistics depots and gas stations, and your highway en route charging. So in this case, you need super high power, but you need super high protections as well to protect the consumer and protect the vehicle. As well as to protect the depot itself. So as part of this, Siemens offers the make-ready solutions required to safely power your depot and to get that charge across, along with all the other equipment required as well, such as your microgrid components, being your solar, battery storage, and microgrid controller, as well as cybersecurity and the required metering that goes into these depots. So getting a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of at-home, single or multifamily location installs. So this is a single unit residential home, in which case your utility, the power goes through your utility to the meter, to your home switch board, and then it connects to your charger via a 240 volt breaker. Yeah, your 2-pole breaker, 240 volts, with a dedicated 50 amp breaker for these chargers. So again, with this, sometimes the utility would like separate metering for the charger in case there's any kind of subsidy being taken advantage of. And so what Siemens provides is a meter combination that can separately meter the house and the charger. Charger status and monitoring is also required in this situation, because we don't want to go to turn on your car and check the state of charge every time. You want to be able to check that from your app, and you can check whether the car is charging, whether there's any issues, and any scheduling as well. So you can schedule your charger to charge during off-peak times only, and this can be done through an app. Moving on into a bit of a bigger install. So this includes your hotels, department stores, schools, multi-tenant. It would include your on-street parking as well, where you have multiple chargers connected to one panel. So your power again goes through your utility, and then it goes into your switchboard, which includes your main circuit disconnect, your utility metering disconnect, and your branch breakers. And again, you can have your metering that feeds straight back into the utility. This solution would also work for office and workplace situations. And the way that Siemens chargers are built and made is that they conform to any specific needs that there may be. So for example, in the office space, there would be no billing, as it would be free to use for employees only. And for example, the solution to that is that you don't need a credit card, so you don't need to pay for a credit card reader, but you would need a RFID system to authenticate employees, and which is available. Next, the bit of a bigger requirement, a bigger load on your power is in the applications of parking lots, gas stations, rest stops, fleet depots, and chain stores. In this case, you have multiple different types of chargers requiring different inputs. So you have your L2 chargers, which charge vehicles in 4 to 8 hours, requiring a 240 volt input, However, you also have your L3 chargers, which can be 50 kilowatts and up, and these require a 600 volt three-phase connection. So Siemens offering for this is the make-ready Siemens integrated power systems with step-down transformers included inside. So with this, you're able to charge all your equipment with a smaller footprint. And the smaller your footprint is here, the more space you have for your chargers. So a little bit more about the utility metering. So for applications where the customer wants to use utility metering and meter its chargers or its pool of chargers and have the utility provide billings independently for these chargers. So in this case, you would have your meter socket here, and you have multiple meters connecting to either each individual charger or each pool of chargers, whether it's one family with multiple chargers or you're charging by the floor or whatever the situation may be. So in this case, you would need independent metering of each charger, in which case you have this metering bank, which can be provided to the condominium or MERB manager. And it accurately bills each customer separately. So whether you're charging the customers or whether you're sending that information back to the utility. Charger status and monitoring is also done for each individual charger. So to make sure you're not mixing up chargers, it's all done through the app through a very seamless experience. And again, you can also schedule charging as you would in a single tenant family home as well. So in the case that you would need a bit more smart charging. So in this case, perhaps you're a building owner and you need to know a greater, you need knowledge of what the impact of the chargers is on your electrical bill. There is a smart meter available. So what this meter does, it's again allows for you to better understand. There's a solution to measure loads of EV chargers. This would require some metering in the panel to measure the amount of kilowatt hours that every charger is consuming. And it can be used in conjunction with building management and automation systems, which allows you to have the data and download it to servers so that you can read the kilowatt usage of every EV charger. Again, you can use it to get a better understanding of your impact of the charges to your electrical infrastructure. And you can also use a Measurement Canada approved meter for billing purposes, also by a third party. So now that we understand the applications and the infrastructure required, let's look a bit on the specific chargers that Siemens offers. So our L2 charger in the around 10 to 11 kilowatt range, it provides it allows you to charge your passenger vehicles. So this is like your sedans up to your SUVs. So these, again, they require multiple hours to charge, and they're made to kind of charge overnight where your vehicle's parked for long hours at a time. Moving up, you have your DC fast charger, which is a level 3 charger. And again, the difference here is you're jumping from AC to DC. So this allows the vehicle to accept charge much quicker as well. So this is available in 50 kilowatts, and it'll range from 50 to 100 to up to 150 and 175 kilowatts as well, depending on the product portfolio. So this is a much faster charger, and it can charge your vehicle within half an hour at the 50 kilowatt range, and it even reduces it down to 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the state of charge. And you'll find these kind of charges typically in your gas and en route stations where you're quickly stopping to get a charge. Moving on into a bit more industrial setting, you see your DC, medium, and heavy duty chargers. So what these allow for is, over here, is to charge your transit buses as well as heavy duty trucks once more electrical trucks hit the market. So this is available through a overhead charger, or which can be plugged in on, which can be installed on street or in the driveway of your depot. What these provide is a super fast charge, even for your buses, which range in the 600 kilowatt range. 600 kilowatt hour range, it would provide a charge super quick. And you have your plug-in chargers, which are typically used inside the depots overnight. So again, depending on what industry you're in, we've got a charger that meets every industry. And from a utility perspective as well, the greater amount, the greater power usage and quantity of these chargers is used, the more involvement a end user would need from the utility to advise on when to charge, best times to charge, and it comes along with policy on making sure that the grid is always capable of charging many depots at a time, as well as making sure that there's a cost-effective way for people to charge. So a little bit about the L2 electrical vehicle charger. So this is a charger you may install at your home or your business for your employees to charge while they work. Or you'll even find these in malls and on-street charging as well. So one of the key highlights of these is that it's compatible with all common electrical vehicles and applicable charging standards here that we have in Canada and North America. It's easy to use, has comfort functions such as delayed and planned charging to ensure a high degree of customer convenience. It can be paired to an app, which allows you to check the status of the charge as well as schedule charging in. So that's all basically allowed through a high-performing integrated dual-band Wi-Fi system to make sure that it never loses connection. If you don't want to use the app, there's also a touch-sensitive button on the charger itself, which you can use to program in a time delay. So, for example, you get home at 5, but you don't want to charge till 11 p.m. You put that 6-hour time delay in, as well as there's also user authentication through RFID. So this is in an office space where you only want your employees charging. They'll be able to tap their card and be able to use the charger without worrying about any other authentication. So what these chargers provide is a bit of a flexibility for the future. So the way that the chargers are provided is in a parent or a child configuration. So this allows you to connect multiple chargers, whereas each charger does not need the full array of connection solutions. So this allows you to decrease your total investment. It makes it cheaper for you to use, and that way you can install more chargers. So basically all the components to connect back to the cloud is done through the parent, while the child units all connect only to that parent. These chargers also allow for a smart building integration in which they can integrate with building software services, which can then be read to create efficiencies wherever required, as well as be used to schedule the chargers in. So a little bit about the app here. It's not only used to monitor and operate chargers, but also provides a very simple step-by-step quick commissioning of the charger. So for the first time that you're using it up, you won't have to go onto your computer. Obviously, however, there is also a PC-based tool if you're commissioning a large number of chargers at a time. Moving up in range, so your 50 kilowatt to 175 kilowatt chargers. So these can be used in your business, whether you want to provide charge to customers or whether you want to provide charge to your own employees in the case where maybe perhaps you have a vehicle fleets in which you want to quickly charge those fleets as they move out. You can use high power chargers to get another shift out of your fleets. For example, if they charge for 6 hours, they come back to the depot and need a quick charge before they can go again for another 6 hours. And our chargers provide very convenient features which allow for flexibility, communication back to your systems, options for credit card readers or RFID, as well as liquid cooled power electronics to ensure that the high amperage connections can be made. and they've already had installs in North America and Canada that can be looked at as proven examples of how these chargers are providing benefits all throughout the country. So moving on into our kind of heavy duty usage with transit and heavy duty trucks, we see that the main charging center is connected to these front end receptors. So this can be kind of stashed away in your electrical room or one side of your depot, whereas these would have to be located, these charging units over here would have to be located closer to your actual point of charge. These units are stackable from 150 kilowatts to 600 kilowatts, so they provide an easy and modular design which you can configure to your business's needs. And a overhead charging receptor can also be provided. So the same thing that you have here in this on-street pantograph can also be put into a depot, so it takes up less space and it's automated, so you don't have to plug in your buses every day. This on-street charger here we have on the right is super high power, so this would pretty much require 4 of these units here stacked up along with each other to provide a charge, and this is designed to provide a charge within 15 to 20 minutes to get these to provide a quick top up to these buses between routes. And again, Siemens offers the make-ready solutions to get these hooked up and connected to the grid with the most ease and flexibility. So a little bit more of what are make-ready solutions and how our chargers actually connect in on these different applications. So for example, in the single family home, you would have your basic residential charger. And in order to make this a lot cheaper for you, it can be configured to not have any communications if you just need a basic plug-in and play charge. If you're more into looking at your charge level and scheduling stuff in, it can be configured to be connected to your Wi-Fi or home network through a open charging protocol. And it can be set up to the Siemens app or any other charging software, which can configure the charger to be scheduled. Moving on into your multi-family home residences, in which case a property manager may be managing these chargers, in which case the Wi-Fi or internet is definitely required. And you also have your high-end residential charger there. So again, you have your parent here and your child, so in order to reduce the total cost of these chargers. And these chargers in the multi-home or commercial settings, again, can be configured with RFID for authorization and communications. In a more commercial setting, you have your option to connect the chargers to your Wi-Fi receiver through OCPP. So in this case, you would have child chargers on each end. So the charger provides flexibility to charge with Ethernet as well to have a more kind of secure connection and then connect to the children in that way. And you can also be connected through cellular OCPP. So with 4G or 4G, it can connect to a 4G network. So even if you're a bit further from the building, the Wi-Fi is a bit spotty, you can connect to a cellular network, which will then feed back the information to you through our cloud services. So the Wi-Fi from the charger will connect with each other, while the parent charger connects to the network. So thinking about chargers, and if you want chargers for your depot, you may be wondering what kind of equipment you would need. So first, you would have to determine whether you have the additional load capacity to connect all your chargers. So in this example, we'll use a 6 megawatt load. You would need to determine whether your existing infrastructure is enough or whether you would have to upgrade to medium voltage system in order to handle the additional capacity. You would have to look at your current transformers and determine if they're able to handle the extra load. If not, you would have to upgrade or add more transformers. You'd have to determine if there's space for additional breakers to be added to the existing switchboard, and if not, you may have to upgrade your switchboard or upgrade the quantity. Again, in this situation, our integrated power solution comes into play, in which you can reduce the footprint of this equipment here. And then finally, is the existing depot electrical system and cables able to handle the increased current requirements that these chargers have? So again, they're not eating power throughout the whole day, but when you have all the chargers working and during your nights, you're going to have to make sure that the infrastructure in the depot is able to handle that. So in this scenario, we have a bit more high power chargers, and you'd require a bit more equipment. But if we look over here, in this situation, on the left, you see you have your high power equipment. On the right here, it's your bit lower power. So the smaller transformer, your panel board with your disconnect switches, or your typical panel board that you find in your home connected to the charger here. So this overall system can be designed for future planned load, and including your battery system connected here with your solar, including, and again, Siemens offers products which come in various configurations for basic and complex solutions. And these kind of products range from your LV distribution, metering, your MV distribution, microgrid services, your battery storage, solar, and which includes inverters and install, your charging equipment, and your any cybersecurity required. So on that note of cybersecurity, we see that the chargers can be found in many different situations throughout the city's infrastructure. You'll have them in highway transit charging, your gas stations again, your e-bus depot, opportunity charging, specific vehicle charging optimizations. You'll have it in your logistics depots, your public charging enterprises, your parking garage and real estate charging, and private charging. So this is a lot of data feeding back into the grid, and this requires a lot of cybersecurity initiatives as well, because with all this data, it has to be protected, and in order to protect the end user and the consumer, details about their even their vehicles are fed back into the cloud. So of course, all this data transferring at high rates. Again, it's just got to keep in mind that security is at the forefront of the thought process here, and Siemens Solutions provide these includes this cybersecurity solution as part of our whole make ready solution. So just to finish off here, a little bit about Siemens eMobility solutions. We offer the full value chain solution, so from the plug to grid, including all the equipment in the depot required. And we've got over 100 years of experience in make-ready equipment. So this includes switchgear, transformers, more recently in the renewable sector with wind and solar farms, all the equipment required to get power generated and get the power delivered to the end user. We've got over 350 distributors nationally and a sales force community of 300 plus. We are OCPP compliant, so all of our chargers are able to connect to OCPP backend systems in case for you already have an existing third-party charging software system, or you're adding a new one, but you want something that's more open. We're completely aligned on regulatory policies, standards, promoting open protocol especially, so all of the electrical standards we find here in Canada, completely, of course, regulated by them. So you can guarantee that the equipment you're getting is 100% safe and reliable. and it provides protection and safety to the end user. Ability and industrial capacity to develop customized solutions. So again, no two depots are the same, and each depot is got, whether it's a retrofit or a brand new depot, it's going to be connected to a different system in a different part of the grid. It's going to be further or closer to the point of generation. It's going to have higher current requirements. A fault on the grid could have different fault capacities. So you have all these different factors playing into your depot, and so the ability to develop customized solutions is huge in this scenario. Interoperability and upgradability. So again, you see that our chargers offer a kind of modular design in which they're stackable. So, and also they're flexible for the future. So Siemens' main goal is to push forward electrification to help Canadians meet their carbon reducing goals. And all of our design decisions in terms of interoperability and upgradability are fed into that main mission that we have. So everything is designed to kind of help customers have a seamless experience in electrifying their depots. We have solutions for any application. Again, going from the residential home all the way to a charging just like maybe like a small 20 to 30 kilowatt hour vehicle, all the way to charging heavy duty transit buses and trucks, which can range all the way up to 600 kilowatts. So from 50 kilowatts, 50 kilowatt hours to 600 kilowatt hours, you get that full range. And again, we have over 100 years of experience in Canada with 12 plus years of experience in EV charging technology. We're one of the leaders in the market for this space, and again, we're committed to providing safe and efficient solutions, which will be able to electrify your depot in a way that is seamless to you and can pretty much handle any hurdles and hiccups in the process and provide electrification to all of Canada. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you all for listening. Again, thank you to the CEA and everybody involved in allowing me to present to you guys. I hope that it was a super informative presentation to everyone and that everyone can take something out of this. With that, I'll hand it over for Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insightful overview, Havandeep. Learned a lot, and especially about the different types of infrastructure and solutions that Siemens has to offer. So it's really, really cool. Just a reminder to the audience today, just please use the chat function now and type in any questions that you may have. And as I receive them, I'll flip them over to Havandeep to answer. A couple questions to start off, Havandeep. So talking about all the different solutions, what does Siemens offer other than the products that will accelerate electrification across Canada?
Right, great question. So other than the products itself, other than our make-ready solutions and the different portfolio of chargers that we have, Siemens provides a team which is super committed to seeing through to the electrification of depots and transport across Canada. Our team has a wealth of experience in getting different electrical infrastructure installed, and they have a wealth of experience in planning. So planning will be key to getting these chargers installed, and as well as problem solving. So no matter how much planning you do, you may still see different hurdles that come at you during the procurement of your chargers. And Siemens team is well equipped to handle any of these problems that you may face, and to answer any questions that you may have along the process to make it again a seamless experience and to make sure that everyone's happy with electrification. So with electrification, with any new industry, we know that reliability can be shattered. And reliability is really fragile. So if you have one bad experience, if you move to an electrical vehicle, even in your own home, you move to an electrical vehicle, but you're finding you can never charge it, your breakers are always going off, you're having problems, and just one day where you can't go to work because your vehicle's not charged, you're gonna lose that reliability. You're never gonna want an EV again, right? So uh, taking that into account on a national scale, that reliability is really fragile, and we want to be able to push this forward with as little hiccups as possible.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
Siemens team again is well equipped for that.
For sure. No, any hiccups, in, especially in a new service, it's always like it prevents you from trying to go back and use it down the road. So,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
so that's great. Havani, tell me what are some of the policies and incentives that are available across different provinces throughout Canada that help businesses adopt EVs?
Oh yeah, right. Great question. So pretty much we see across provinces, each province does have like a different policy. For example, in Quebec, you can get up to $13,000 in rebates for an electric vehicle, whereas Ontario, it's only like $5,000. So you see different things across the provinces. You really see Quebec and BC leading the charge in terms of incentives. But the good thing to know is if you're not in any of those provinces, there are federal rebates provided. So again, that 5K in Ontario, it's it can be in Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, anywhere really in Canada. So that's a great thing that you're getting incentive from the government, the Canadian government, no matter where your province is. And any provincial incentives will just stack on top of that. On top of that, even in some of the provinces which don't have too many consumer incentives, they'll still have business incentives. So businesses and municipalities, which we see leading the charge to electrification, are able to kind of subsidize the cost that's required. And again, with these kind of pilot projects and these different kind of projects in which different players team up. So you'll have your utility, the EV provider, the charging provider. Everyone kind of connects and is able to learn lessons to move electrification forward for everyone. So in terms of that, there's great incentives all across the board. And if your province is not so forward thinking on electrification, then again, there's those Canadian incentives. Including that is what you want to search if you're listening is the NRCan incentives in Canada, which includes a lot of different EV infrastructure programs in which they'll subsidize the cost of chargers as well as subsidize the cost of vehicles.
Fantastic. Those are really great to know as well. Um, Havani, can you tell me, we're trying to get to net zero by 2050, and a huge emphasis being placed on, um, you know, reducing carbon emissions. So what can be done to ensure the power being consumed from the grid is not from a source that emits carbon?
Yeah, right. So this is a big worry in provinces that don't have maybe hydroelectric power. So for example, in Ontario, we share hydroelectric power and nuclear power, but during peak periods, we use carbon emitting sources of power sometimes. And some places will even have cogeneration units that run off diesel or biodiesel, which again emits that carbon. So However, especially in Alberta, is another case in which there's carbon emitting sources of power generation with coal and gas. So in these situations, you might think to yourself that like, what's the point of electrifying the vehicle if the source of energy is still carbon emitting? However, studies have shown that throughout a lifetime of a EV, that it still emits less carbon versus a regular internal combustion engine vehicle, even if the source of generation is carbon emitting. So EVs still bring on efficiencies in which they're able to hold the energy and hold the charge, and you're not walking around with a power generator with you. So no matter the case across Canada, EVs offer carbon reducing emissions across the board.
Fantastic, thank you. We have another question come in. Have any meter manufacturers approached Siemens to work on possibly integrating their communication systems, either mesh network or cellular, so that utilities can utilize AMI as a means to obtain billing data?
Of course, so I'm not 100% familiar with all the technical requirements with chargers. Of course, if you connect with me, we can connect you with our metering specialists. However, what I can say is that with these chargers that we're conforming to all the open charging point protocols. So in this case, it's an open protocol where the chargers can connect to different types of third-party software. In which case, if there's a proprietary software that you want to connect to, whether you already have it installed or you're already using it, this the OCPP allows for you to receive data back from your chargers to get that connection going. But yeah, thank you for the question.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Avneep. Just give a quick second to see if there is any more. But if they're not, I think we can end it here. Again, thank you very much for answering the questions and for the presentation. You can go off screen now and we can conclude the presentation.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you everyone again in the audience for your questions and everybody listening in. I hope again the presentation was insightful. And again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to follow up and reach out. Always happy to talk about eMobility again. So thanks, Fran, and thank you to CEA again for allowing us the opportunity to present to you guys today. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. That's all we have for you today, but we've got a busy week coming up. Our next corporate partner conversation series webinars will be held over the next couple of days. So tomorrow, December 2nd, BMEX will be presenting Digitalization, a New Era in Calibration. And on Thursday, December 3rd, Siemens Canada will return to present Grid Resiliency. All of CEA's future events and webinars can be found in our monthly newsletter, Current Affairs, or you can go to the news and events section on our website, electricity.ca. Thank you very much again for joining us today, and until next time, bye for now.